Yeah, it makes me nervous when you get behind me, but yeah, just.
Darlene, stop. Give me palpitations. One on this side and one. You want all of them to come on in?
Yeah, let's get them on.
Okay.
Come on over, Brenda. Come on over. Mark.
We can do some on this side too.
Everybody just gather around Dolly. That's all we got to do. Hey, we've got a mask on Dolly. How about that? Okay. Perrin, tell me if you're ready. Where's he at? Are we ready? Okay, I'm ready. Good afternoon. Appreciate everyone being here. I think we're getting ready to do something that I don't believe there's one of us that have been involved in this decision that are happy about, but it's something I think we feel like is necessary, unfortunately. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank all of the city representatives for being here and thank the cities and the tourism officials and economic development. We have been meeting weekly since probably the first week of March, and everything that we have done in Sevier County has been part of a collective effort on behalf of the cities and the county, and we've tried to make sure that the folks understand why we have taken action throughout this pandemic that we have, and we have taken every action that we know to mitigate the spread. So far, we have done everything we can. Our numbers have been going up, but we have been continuing to meet and continuing to take action to try to mitigate the spread. We have the signage that just recently went up. We are doing all of the tourism folks in the cities and the county is posting on our social media every day reminders to our citizens, our visitors, and our workers to follow guidelines. And so we have done everything that we can do so far to mitigate the spread. Now, having said that, you all know that on Friday, the governor put down an order in which he allowed county mayors to make the decision concerning mandating masks in a particular county. And while I'm not sure, I know I wasn't glad about that order because it's certainly puts a lot of pressure on myself, as well as, since we do everything in a collective matter, as well as city officials and tourism officials. Having said that, I mean, what I am getting ready to do is something that certainly don't take lightly. Certainly it is controversial. It is going to be controversial in Sevier County. It's probably a 50-50 proposition. 50% of the people are going to support wearing masks, and 50% of the people are going to oppose it. So that is never a good thing when you have a community split like that. It is not a political statement. Unfortunately, a lot of times this has become a political statement. Sevier County is a very conservative county and a highly Republican county, continues to be so, and I am. So, and continues to do that. So it is not in any way any recognition of any kind of politics. It is a recognition of we have been consulting. We started Friday when we first heard that the governor might do this, talking with leadership of our cities, certainly the mayors, the city managers, the tourism officials, and of the county. I have discussed with county commissioners over the past several days the issue of mandating masks. We've talked to our EMS and law enforcement officials about the mandating of masks. We've talked to legal counsel. As you know, initially we had our legal counsel tell us being all the mayors and the city managers and myself, that We did not have the authority to mandate masks. We didn't have the authority to close businesses. Our authority was very limited on the local level. We got that opinion early on. That opinion was confirmed by the State Attorney General a little later, that is in fact correct, and that local governments can't do anything to override state law. And state law gave the governor, the administration, and the health department the ability to deal with mandates in this pandemic. So we found that out early on, and we saw we couldn't do anything, and then the governor, in his most recent order, has delegated a part of that authority to the county mayors, and that's the reason we're here today. As I said, we've been consulting with our healthcare officials and everyone for the past several days, and finally, we have determined that ordering a face covering mandate is in the best interests of Sevier County. We're doing this for several reasons. One is the health and safety of our residents, our employees, and our visitors. We're also doing it to prevent, we think this will help prevent any additional interruption or shutdown of our businesses. I don't think we can afford another shutdown, and we're certainly going to do everything we can to prevent that. And finally, I think we're doing it so that our schools will have a better chance of opening this fall. We certainly think it's important for our young people to continue their education. So there are several reasons to do this, and as I said, this decision has not been taken lightly. We have met many hours since Friday with these individuals that I've mentioned, the cities and health department and emergency personnel and our legal counsel, trying to put together the best possible scenario that we could have in a very difficult situation. I know that people are passionate about this. There is arguments both for and against this mandate. I understand those arguments, and I appreciate those. I appreciate the comments that I've received over the past several days, both for and against. I have read all those. I do not take those lightly as well, and I certainly have taken all those into consideration as we move on making a decision on this. This is, as I said, a collective decision. Although I'm the one empowered to do it, I did not want to do it unless all of the cities and the various officials were aboard on the decision, and we have together made this. There are times when individual efforts will benefit our community. We wear seat belts. We do some other things, and this is one of those things that we've determined is an inconvenience, but we're hoping that the positive results that we get between now and August 3rd, when the governor's order expires, and that's when my order expires, is when the governor's does. His order of Friday, I believe is order number 54, is that correct? Order number 54 expires August 3rd, and my order expires August 3rd. It coincides with that, and that is going to allow us to look at the metrics, working with the health department between now and August 3rd to determine whether or not this has made a significant enough difference in the spread of COVID-19, and whether we need to take any additional steps. The only additional steps that we can take without the authorization from the state would be requesting and urging our citizens. I spoke with Dr. Percy yesterday, the commissioner of the Tennessee Department of Health. She and I spoke for a while on the phone yesterday. She was actually on her way to Washington, D.C., and I talked to her about this mandate. She said that she, as Commissioner of Health, fully supported Sevier County mandating masks, and the Department of Health were in full support of our mandate of masks. So I appreciate Dr. Percy and her statement to me yesterday and her support of what we are doing. The health department will be helping us monitor statistics during this mandate and are going to provide us with weekly updates. Masks are to be worn in publicly accessible indoor areas of commercial and public business establishments where social distancing is not possible. It is not mandated that masks be worn outside because that to us would be almost impossible to do. Also in the order, we're talking about any time that someone would refuse, we just want them to have a warning, and we want them to be educated about the purpose of this order. So this is not for anyone to be fined or anything like that. This is trying another step in trying to get our folks to make sure that they do this. It prevents other people. We're particularly concerned about our older population, as we are as well those that have pre-existing conditions that make this COVID-19 more difficult for those citizens. We're concerned about them, and one of the reasons that we're taking these steps is additional protection for our older citizens and our citizens that do have pre-existing conditions that make this worse. So, having said that, this begins Friday at 12:01, I think. 12:01 a.m. We wanted to give a couple of days for our citizens and our businesses and our visitors to understand what's happening, and that's the reason we're waiting until Friday. I think some other counties in the state are taking similar action. I know Williamson County is, and theirs is in effect Friday. This will go into effect on Friday, and it lasts in conjunction, as I said earlier, with the governor's order, which expires on August the 3rd, and we will be monitoring it, as I said earlier, until then. So we are going to give all of the media, we are sending them a copy of a press release. We are also sending a copy of the order itself. There are a number of exemptions in the order that you will get. Most of them come from the governor's office, but some of them are in addition that we have added since reviewing that for the last several days. But there are several exemptions in there, folks that have difficulty wearing masks where it's not because of some kind of health issue. Those people are exempt, and there's, as I said, there's a number of exemptions. Houses of worship are exempted, and some other exemptions are in there. But we are going to move forward with this, and hopefully this will help mitigate the spread. What I have said is that when you look at it as a percentage spread in Sevier County, the percentage is pretty high, but when you look at the actual number of folks we have in active cases, it was 341. What is it now? Number of active cases. Did anybody have that? It was 341 yesterday or day before. So that's out of a permanent population of about 100,000, and we usually have between 150 and 200,000 visitors in the county at any particular time. So when you look at it from that perspective, we don't think, while every case is significant, we think that number is not significant, but we want to mitigate it and so that it doesn't get any larger, and so our hospital still has beds in it available for anyone who gets that sick, so we want to make sure that those beds are still available. So this is another reason we're trying to mitigate the spread. So I'm going to hush now, and if anybody has a question, I will be happy to answer that. Or we have folks, if you look around me up here, we have representatives of the cities behind me. We've got Mayor Fox and Earlene Teester and Leon Downing and Russell Treadway, and we've got Mark Adams and Brenda McCroskey and Seth from Gatlinburg, Seth Butler and Angela Ashley from the county. And Alan Newton is over here. So we've got representation from all of the cities and all of the tourist bureaus and economic development here with us today. So I'll take any questions that you might have.
So yesterday, you said that you delayed this announcement because of legal issues. Can you talk a little bit about what legal aspects you were still looking into?
Our attorneys were continuing to review this document, and we added, and I can't remember right offhand, we added a couple of things in it, and we wanted them to review that, as well as it wasn't certified by the Secretary of State until about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. So it is really not an official order from the governor until it is certified by the Secretary of State, and we were waiting on that certification. And since that certification didn't occur until 4 o'clock and we had those legal issues, we felt like it would be appropriate to delay it one day to make sure that what we added was legal and make sure that it was certified before we move forward.
So you said that as of right now, you think people are 50-50 on the whole mask issue. How do you think that would play into actually, I mean, I know you said enforcing, you're just going to pass out warnings, but how would that play into that?
We believe that and hope that most of the people are going to adhere to this for the next, it's about a month. A little less than a month. We actually believe that our citizens and our businesses will make an extra effort to adhere to this. So we're confident that it is going to make enough of a difference to where we'll be able to determine, working with the health department, whether or not these statistics indicate that it has worked, and we're hoping it will, and whether it is, I hate to use the term flatten the curve because that's been overused during this thing, but whether we can mitigate the spread that we've got going on. So we feel confident that a vast majority of the citizens are going to adhere to this.
How will the county help businesses implement this?
Well, we've already been meeting with businesses. We had a meeting the other day in Pigeon Forge. It was sponsored by the chambers and the tourism bureaus of the county, and we're going to continue. Information will be continually going out through the chambers and the tourism bureaus here in the county and our particular tourism bureau about how businesses need to adhere to this and what they need to do. So we're going to continue to put that information out through those venues that go to all of the businesses in our county.
I have a question.
Sure.
I noticed on here that one of the exemptions is outdoor areas.
Yes.
Unless private businesses choose so. What about those crowded outdoor areas, such as like the Parkway in Gatlinburg, where it's really difficult to socially distance? Why not?
Well, right. We're trying our best to encourage social distancing, but we realize we've got some areas in the county where that's going to be extremely difficult. We've got thousands of visitors, and enforcing that in some of these areas like Gatlinburg you talked about is going to be difficult. We're just going to encourage people to when they're in an enclosed area to be wearing the mask, and when they're inside and when they're outside, we're going to continue putting out, as we have on the signs and so forth in Gatlinburg and in other areas, that they need to social distance, and that's really the best we can do at this time to encourage that, and hopefully that'll all of this together will help prevent the continual spread of this.
In extreme cases, for people who continue to not follow the rules, or businesses that don't adhere, could you potentially be fined or face jail time for people that maybe multiple warnings still don't listen to those?
I would say that that the jail time would be off the radar and would not be a part of any kind of enforcement. Now, if somebody continually, which we hope they not, we're going to talk to these folks, and they continually refuse, and the particular law enforcement agency would have to determine what steps they would take. But I would hope that a warning would be enough.
For the tourism industry, just because we have so many visitors coming into this area, are there any steps being
Yes, we have. It's going to be on all of our social media. That folks now use social media when they visit an area. It's going to be on our reader boards in the various areas of the county, so people will know it. The businesses will be urged to put signage up. Letting people know that when they're inside, a mask is required. So all of these, and we're hoping to get additional masks in. We have talked with the state about ordering additional masks so that we can have additional masks that a business may have to furnish those that don't have them. So and if an officer, if he has additional masks and someone don't have one, then he can give them a mask, hopefully, and encourage them to use it. So there's different ways that we're going to try to reach our visitors.
When might you revisit it and consider fines or anything like that? Now you're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that, and I don't think we'll do that in the initial. Right now, the governor's order expires on August 3rd, and this order expires on August 3rd, and until that date, I don't think we will be doing that. We'll see what kind of effect this has working with our health department. Let me say, anybody want to say anything up here? I'm glad, Mayor Fox. Anybody? I'd be happy to. I'd be happy to relinquish this podium to anybody. I mean, even somebody walking down the street if they want to say something.
What's the next step as far as, I didn't quite catch that. If the masks don't work, what might?
Well, I don't know what that would be. I mean, we continually meet to see what we can do to help mitigate this. As I said, we're doing reader boards. We have even discussed sending a flyer out in our utility bills. We probably will be doing that in the next month. So. To our citizens, and we continually look at steps like that that we can urge our citizens to follow the guidelines, and we're going to continue to meet and continue to try to look for ways to mitigate the spread. If that's all, thank you all for being here. We certainly appreciate it. Thank everybody for being here for support, and I want to close by saying how much I do appreciate the cities, the officials, the tourism officials, and the EMA staff and my staff. These folks have worked diligently to put this together, and I think have done a good job. And I appreciate the support that we have gotten in trying to do this very difficult thing that none of us want to do. And I especially do not want to do it, but it's a significant step, and we understand it's a controversial step, but we also feel like it's a step that will help us mitigate the spread. So thank you again for being here.